Time for another episode of the Joshcast. Feeling excited today. Managed to leave before 8:30. Plan is to do more writing today than usual because I have a little bit more time now. Hopefully won't have diarrhea between now and 10. Or really, between now and the end of the day would be nice. It would be nice to never have diarrhea again. This podcast has started off on a wondrous note, hasn't it? This is why I'm not very good at dating, because it doesn't take me too long to get to diarrhea in the conversation. Irritable bowel syndrome is usually that's my go-to move. That is my number one pickup line. Not feeling it today. Number one pickup line right there. So, my mind is drawing a blank. How do you draw a blank? Isn't it just blank? Boy, I'm reaching if I'm doing jokes about the phrase drawing a blank. That must be really blank. But you don't draw a blank, unless it's like drawing something out of something. Like I took this piece of paper out of the box and it's blank, so I drew a blank. Which even then isn't interesting. Now that makes more sense. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reach for something in this podcast, which is what happens when you don't prepare for a podcast. And in so doing and reaching, my mind is blank. Now the irony is that when I'm not trying to do a podcast, when I'm just living my life, my mind is filled with fear and 19 different thoughts happening at the same time. But as soon as I want to access those thoughts, they go away. So perhaps I should deal with fear by trying to do a podcast. So if ever I have to scale a mountain, I will do a podcast while scaling the mountain, and then I will be invincible. I'm sure that'll work out. Won't it? But on the subject of fear, I was talking to someone yesterday and trying to give advice. And one thing I remember saying is if I had it to do over again, I would have told myself when I was younger, start stand-up earlier and take more risks. And I find myself thinking now, well, what's to stop me from doing that now? I mean, I'm doing the stand-up, but I mean, what's to stop me from taking more risks? And what would risks be for me? What would my risks be? Well, I think the first one that comes to mind. Oh, something's coming to mind. Oh, I guess the mind is deciding to show up now, aren't you? The first thing that comes to mind is that if I meet somebody who I'm attracted to, just ask that person out, no matter the circumstances. No matter the circumstances, even if we're both dangling from a building and there's explosions all around us, and Optimus Prime is saying, I got this. I really got this. And we're saying, Optimus, I think this has been an ongoing war. I appreciate your efforts, but maybe have we tried calling Jimmy Carter? We should just, can you call Jimmy Carter? Maybe he can reach out an olive branch to the Decepticons. And maybe as we're dangling from that building, as explosions are happening, I can look this person in the eyes and say, hey, would you like to go and get some nosh? And I won't say that because Yiddish and flirtation does not mesh well. Yeah, Yiddish and flirtation, not particularly sexy. You're never going to see James Bond walk up to a lady and go, "Ei, Gewalt! You want to geh weg, du schmeck wie Dreck?" He would never say that because that in Yiddish means go away, you smell like poop. But that would be a good line when Bond kills the villain. That's his final quip. Geh weg, du schmeck wie Dreck. Bond. James Shmuel Bond. So that would be one fear. So there's that one. What's another risk? Oh, I need to get out there, perform more at other places. That's another risk. Need to go to other clubs. Need to I think the other big one too is I need to do. You know what I'm afraid of? Here's what I'm afraid of. This thought that came into my mind is, I need to produce more content and put it out there. And then I thought, oh God, am I saying that what I want to do is a web series? And I'm tired of web series. I'm tired of the concept of a web series as a thing. I used to tell a joke on stage that says, welcome to Burbank. If you're here, you're already in a web series right now. Congratulations. Your background in someone's web series. You can add it to your IMDb credits. It just feels so cliche. But on the other hand, why would it? I mean, why am I judging the web series? Because if you look at the realm of theater, there's in every major city, there's small theaters that pop up and actors get together and do plays. And that somehow feels better to me than a web series. But on the other hand, why am I dissing on the web series? What has the web series ever done to me? It's as simple as not clicking on it. So I shouldn't diss the web series. Now I feel guilty about all those people who worked so hard on web series. Although I have a feeling 90% of them, when they're done with the web series, would say, no, you're right. You're 100% correct. All right, so put content out there. And I guess what I mean by that is maybe something that's more produced than what I'm doing now. Which means, there's a script and multiple people involved, and we agree to come and shoot it, and there is a point. So that's something. I'll tell you one. I think this is a risk, in a way. I like this one. This one's scintillating. Give up porn. Give up watching porn. Because I think for me I don't know if it's an addiction, but I watch a lot of it. And what I've noticed is that I was addicted to sugar. I still am addicted to sugar. And I gave it up, or at least stopped eating the sweets, and now if I have a craving for sugar, I just eat fruit or natural sugars. And I noticed since I did that, I feel better. I've been writing more. I've been doing better. So what I'm thinking now is, well, what if I got rid of porn? If I eliminated that? Would that free up more creative energy somehow? I'd have to go back to using my imagination. I don't want to get too deep into this, but I wonder if I'm using that as a crutch instead of really making an effort to be intimate with a human being, and if I'm using it as an escape. instead of dealing with what is getting in the way of me being intimate with a human being. So, all right, this is turning into a Ben Franklin, how do I improve myself podcast. Which is fine, I guess. It's okay. Ben Franklin was a character. I remember I had a high school teacher who was like, I don't know if I can't tell if he really had something against Ben Franklin. I remember he was a great high school teacher, but he was like, he was a lech. He's an absolute lech. Hypocrite. Da-da-da. I don't know if he said hypocrite, but he was very anti-Ben Franklin. I think he was a bigger Thomas Jefferson fan. And I don't know. I don't know if it's so wise to take sides on the founding fathers because, they all have their baggage. Jefferson had slaves. I think he released them after he died, which is convenient for Jefferson, isn't it? Someone's got to do the laundry. Hey! I believe in freedom for all, eventually. But maybe I'm not being fair to Jefferson. I don't know. I don't want this to turn into a controversial podcast. God forbid that happens, and then I get more followers. We're trying to keep this at 5 people or less listening. But all right, so there's that. So there's cutting away porn. We're going to try that. See how that goes. Yeah, I guess I'm going to commit to doing that. Let's see how that goes. We'll check back in a week when I'm dead. What are other things that are risky? The things that I'm not putting on the list are like, skydiving. I don't want to do that. Yes, that's scary. Yes, that's risky. I don't need to take that risk. Between that and having a milkshake, which could cause me to get sick to my stomach, I'd rather go with the milkshake. The skydiving, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do skydiving. I believe that gravity is real. I don't need more proof. I'm good. I've got the idea. I don't need to have the feeling of falling. I have that feeling every day when I'm conscious. I can replicate that emotionally and psychologically. Don't need to do it physically. Thanks for the offer. I'm good. The other one I don't want to do? Scuba diving. I've talked about this on stage too. I'm not a fan of scuba diving. I just don't know. I question whether or not the marine world wants me in it. Because I would imagine it vacillates from indifference to aggravation. There's another one I've talked about on stage, but I'll go in there. Imagine you're sitting at home, you're trying to relax, and then you see a giant fish that's in some kind of contraption that enables him to walk on land and be amongst humans. Just walking in, looking around, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? And he's saying, I'm on vacation. This is a luxury vacation that I'm taking right now. I'm seeing what it's like on land. I'm stressed out in my job as a fish, and so I've decided to take 2 weeks off and go and explore the land and look at you and watch you in your natural state. Yeah, you're going to watch me not look at porn. That's what you're going to see. I see. Well, this is a waste of my time, isn't it? Oh, it's a waste of everybody's time. All right, well, at least I tried it. Sure, at least you tried it. That's the number one thing that people say to themselves after they have spent money on something they don't enjoy doing. Well, at least I tried it. They should be able to write that next to the item of expense and maybe get a little thing back on the taxes. The at least I tried it tax break. Well, I went to Orlando. At least I tried it. Get $50 back from the government. I'm just coming up with all kinds of great ideas here, aren't I? Should have left a little earlier. The traffic would have been lighter, would have gotten there faster, would have gotten more writing done. Already feeling guilty. Because I did wake up 15 minutes earlier, but then I watched some YouTube videos. Maybe that's the next thing I should give up is YouTube. Maybe I should give up social media. What's another risk? Take some of the writing I've done and get it out there somehow. Try to sell it or get it, and do more than just self-publishing, which is actually quite easy to do. But try to sell it to somebody who has money. That's it. I like that risk. I'll take that risk. That's something. The frustration involved in that risk might lead me to the relaxing thing by comparison, which is jumping out of a plane. So there you go. Other risks. Other risks I can take. This one is not so much a risk, but it's something I should do, is talk to the family a bit more. More than once a month. I got to be more in conversation with them. I got to do that. And I love my parents. I do love my parents, which is the default setup for every single comedian's act. I love my parents, and then the next 10 minutes is, but, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. My mom just worries. There's a lot of worrying. And inevitably, whatever conversation we have, we talk for an hour. There comes a point in the conversation where mom goes full existentialist and full nihilist. And it's something to the effect of, well, there's not going to be an ozone layer 10 years anyway. Human race is destroying itself. There's just no hope. We're living in the dark ages. And we just suddenly get this forecast of doom and gloom. And this car just got in front of me. I was guessing that they were about to make a left turn. Looks like they're not. They're just taking their time. Oh, it's an old guy. That's why. No offense against old guys, but... And it might not be his, because he's driving an old car, and the car just might not have the pep that he would need to get up this hill. Yes. Where was I? Totally got lost by making a comment about the old guy in the car. Now I feel guilty because it's a cliche. Oh, right. Mom on nihilism. That's right. Oh, right. Mom talking about the end of the world. That's where I was. That is my favorite thing that she said to me. I said, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to die alone. And she said, oh, there's not going to be an ozone layer in 10 years anyway. So, it'll happen sooner than later. That's how she looks on the bright side. Oh, I'm miserable. Well, you're probably going to die sooner than later. So, it'll have patience. It'll be over soon. And that's what I say to you, dear podcast listener. It'll all be over soon. Just hang in there.